went to bleeding races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Banbury's and she was heavy laden. Away we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to bleeding.
You're watching Toon Army TV. If you're new around here, you're a first time viewer, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. It would help the channel to grow and go forward. Just a couple of mentions before I jump into the big FA Cup quarter-final against Manchester City at St James's Park this Sunday. First up, Liverpool, congratulations for winning the Premier League title. You fully deserve it. Your first Premier League title in over 30 years and hopefully many more to come. You're a huge club with big expectation. You've got a massive duck off your back now. Jurgen Klopp has done wonders at that football club. He's built something and you can only move forward from there. You've won the league by a country mile, 20 plus points. Nobody was catching you. You've played the best football this season and you've got the best squad in the Premier League alongside Manchester City. So very best of luck for the future, but well done winning the Premier League title. The next bit of news, Andy Carroll has signed a 1-year contract extension until the end of next season. I think it's a good move by the club for Andy Carroll. It's pay as you play. He's got 5 assists this season. I just want to see more goals from the lad. He's a local lad. He knows what it means to play for the football club. Also, Javier Manquillo has signed a 4-year contract extension at Newcastle. He has now become a consistent right back for the club. Yedlin's been nowhere to be seen. And I have to say for Yedlin, I don't think he's got a future at the football club, but Manquillo, he's done well under Steve Bruce, and now he's really got to kick on and make that his own and keep that right back position his own and not surrender it to somebody else, because I'm sure there will be added extra competition for next season in that area if Yedlin was to move on. Now we're going to move on to the big game on Sunday. It's against Manchester City in the FA Cup. We couldn't have asked for a tougher FA Cup quarter-final. But they always say, if you're going to win it, you're going to come up against the best sides, like Manchester City. We've had an easy run, I would say, up to this point. We've made it difficult for ourselves against Rochdale, Oxford and West Brom. But we're in the quarter-final for the first time in 14 years. We're at St James's Park. It's a shame that we can't be there to see it. But listen, I'm sure the lads will give 100%. I'm not feeling negative like any other fans are right now. Oh, we're not going to win it. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Listen, nothing has happened just yet. We haven't played Manchester City just yet. And for me, all I expect from the lads is fight. If you fight for the shirt on Sunday and you give it your absolute all, you try your best, that's all we can expect against a very good Manchester City side. They've got quality. They play attacking football. We're not going to have much of the ball. There's no question about that. We're going to have to work 10 times harder. We're not going to get the chances that we did against Aston Villa or Sheffield United. We're going to have to work for one another. We're going to have to make sure that we're mentally switched on throughout, because if we are, we'll give ourselves a chance to potentially, win this match and make more history and make the semi-final for the first time in ages. If we don't, then our season's pretty much done, because form-wise, we've picked up 4 points from the last 2 games against Sheffield United and Aston Villa. If anybody had asked me, you're going to pick up 4 points from those 2 fixtures, I would have said, brilliant, I'll take it. Yes, we could have got 6, being greedy. We should have kept the lead against Aston Villa. It was a poor goal to concede. Shelvey, for me, is to blame. Dubravka, you could say, should communicate better with the defence. But listen, I thought Villa were a decent side on that Wednesday night. I think we looked tired. Bruce did make the correct changes, but the heat in the end was a huge factor in the game as well. And we're now on 39 points in the Premier League table. We're looking decent. We're not going to go down. And we can go into the Man City game on Sunday with no added pressure of trying to stay in the Premier League. We can really give it our all against Manchester City. There's no excuse to not play and to not try and match Manchester City. We've played them earlier on the season. We drew 2-2 and we could have won the game. We had chances and we responded when we got knocked back by Manchester City. So we can prove to anybody that we have got what it takes to fight up against any of the top sides. And people will say, well, it's against Manchester City, you've got absolutely no chance. Listen, let's keep the faith. Cup upsets do happen. I will repeat that. Keep the faith. Cup upsets do happen, and Newcastle United can be one of those clubs come Sunday evening. I just think we've got to be positive, because if we go into the game with a negative attitude and feeling sorry for ourselves for the draw against Aston Villa, then we're only going to ask for trouble. We need to just forget about what's happened in the past, about what happened, in the Aston Villa game, and just look at this one and think, right, this is a one-off game now. We've come this far. Let's not blow it. Let's just give it what we've got and use the quality to our advantage that we've got in our locker. And let's not have any regrets come 90 minutes or 120 minutes or after a penalty shootout. Let's just leave all of the negativity in the background, the ownership, whatever you want to say about Steve Bruce. Because for me, I think he deserves a lot of credit for the fact that we've made it this far. When he came into the football club, nobody expected Steve Bruce to achieve what he's achieved this season. The fact that we're on 39 points, we're going to get 40 plus points anyway. I'm confident of that. And the fact that we're sat here in an FA Cup quarter-final, you've got to give him credit for that. He's a cup manager, and he's spoken by the word, and he's proven to everybody that he can, with an average side that we've got, make it this far. And it's up to the players to really, give Steve Bruce a selection headache throughout the rest of the season, and to try and take their opportunities. Steve Bruce is putting trust in these players to try and take the club, to its first FA Cup in so many years, its first trophy since the Fairs Cup. Yes, it's going to be a tough ask to even make it past the quarter-final, but listen, I'm confident. We're here, and I don't fear any side. I don't fear any side in this Premier League, even in the FA Cup. If I'm going to fear anybody, then, or even if we're going to fear anybody, there's no point in us being where we are now, because we've got here through, hard work and the players not giving up. Even when we've been knocked back by some of the League One sides like Oxford, like Rochdale, West Brom, nearly knocking us out the FA Cup, we've made it because the players have gave the last energy to really get the club to the quarter-final. We really do want to see the lads lift a trophy of some description, and here's a chance of lifting the FA Cup. It would be a shame, if we were to try and lift the FA Cup with no fans. It would just be typical, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself at that point. But for now, I want to focus on this game, and Steve Bruce is going to make changes. There's no question about that. It's a shame that Matt Ritchie and Hayden pulled up against Aston Villa. It looks as if they're going to be missing for Sunday. I am talking before Steve Bruce's press conference on the Friday, but I do believe that if they are injured, then they can be replaced. That's why we've got a 25-man squad to pick from, and we've got players there that can hopefully fit the bill and play the same way like Ritchie and Hayden have been playing all season. But if they do make it, it would be an added boost. Now, I think Steve Bruce will go with the 4-2-3-1 formation. I don't think he's going to change it. You could say, well, against Manchester City, they're more attacking. We might have to go with 5 at the back. For me, I wouldn't go back with 5 at the back. I would just go for it against Manchester City. Don't have any regrets that we should have played 4 at the back and we've played 5 and we've been beaten. Because we've been beaten with 5 at the back before. And with this 4 at the back, we're actually winning games. And with Steve Bruce changing the formation, the players are playing with a lot more freedom. We are attacking a lot more in terms of, creating shots on goal. Yes, we could do a lot more in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net from the strikers. But midfield, they're starting to bomb on a bit more. Almiron's becoming a bit more of a presence. St. Maximin's becoming a bit more of a presence. You're seeing, the very best in him. The defence is confident in their own abilities. Dubravka's been decent. You could argue for the equaliser for Villa on Wednesday, but all in all, he's been decent, and he's another reason why we're here in the first place. And for my predicted 11 for Sunday's game, it will be that formation, and I'm going to start off in goal, Martin Dubravka. At left back, Danny Rose. At right back, Javier Manquillo. Captain Jamal Lascelles will be my first centre back, and alongside him, Federico Fernandez. At left mid, it will be Alan St. Maximin. At right mid, it will be Lazaro. My 2 centre mids, first up, John Joe Shelby. and alongside him, Nabil Bentaleb. In the cam position, I'm going to go with Miggy Almiron, and up front, on his own, I'm going to go with Dwight Gale. So that is my starting 11 for the game on Sunday. Let me know what starting 11 you would go with. Do you agree with the 3 changes that I've made, or would you go with a completely different side? Let me know. Now, we're going to jump into Manchester City. They are our opponents for this big FA Cup clash. Manchester City are managed by Pep Guardiola. He's been okay this season, but by his standards, he'd be disappointed that they have surrendered the Premier League title to Liverpool and that they haven't won the league for a 3rd consecutive season. But they have won the Carabao Cup, so they have got a trophy in the cabinet for this season. They are playing to win the FA Cup, so he will be having huge expectations for the squad on Sunday, and he will have expectations of them going all guns blazing for the game at St James's Park. He will have huge expectations for Manchester City to win the Champions League. So Man City have still got trophies to play for, and there will be no pushovers on Sunday. You could argue that Manchester City are coming into this game with a defeat. If you look at the form, a 2-1 defeat to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which pretty much gave Liverpool the title, the first one in 13 years. They did beat Burnley 5-0 at the Etihad, and they did open up the Premier League restart with a 3-0 win over Arsenal. So they have got goals in their side. They are a very good side on their day. They do play attacking football, a 4-3-3 formation. I don't expect anything less against us. Sunday, Man City will literally punish us if we make any mistakes. It's how we go about it on Sunday. Man City are all about possession. They're all about tick-attack football. They're all about trying to get the ball up top as much as possible and to try and score as many goals as possible. That's how Man City play. The way they play is absolutely devastating, and they're electric, and we need to cope with them. We made a huge mistake for the equaliser for Aston Villa on Wednesday. If you thought that was bad, if we make any similar mistakes on Sunday, Man City will punish us because they've got that know-how, they've got that ability, they've got that experience in their side, which we lack at times. They've got a full 25-man squad, options to choose from, which can change a game. It doesn't matter if a player's injured or if they've been suspended. They've got a player that has got experience, which we totally lack, in our side. And for Manchester City, they are going to be losing Fernandinho. He was given a straight red card the game against Chelsea on the Thursday evening, so he'll be missing for the game on Sunday. And Aguero, he's a huge one for them as well. Their forward, he has he pulled up against Burnley, and he will be missing for the remainder of the season, I do believe. So that is only an added bonus for us. But I say that Man City have got quality players, and for some of the players that we've got to watch out for, we should be scared. So the first one I'm going to mention is Raheem Sterling, who was actually played up front against Chelsea on Thursday evening. He's scored 23 goals for Manchester City this season, so he's going to be an absolute nuisance on Sunday evening. I'm sure he will be played because he is their best player at that club. You would also say Kevin De Bruyne. He's got 11 goals this season for Manchester City. He works ever so hard in that midfield. He likes to get forward. He scored an absolute worldie past Dubravka, if you remember, at St James's Park in the 2-2 draw. Dubravka will have to be on his game against De Bruyne because he can make anything happen at any given time, and he's a tricky customer to deal with, and the midfield needs to make sure that they get on him. Even if you have 1 or 2 men on him, make sure that he doesn't have that freedom to get forward, because if you give De Bruyne any sort of sniff of a chance on goal, he could potentially put one in. He's great from set pieces as well. Riyad Mahrez, he has got 11 goals as well. He's had a decent second part of this season. He put a couple of goals in past Burnley on the Monday. He's looking rather lively. And if he's playing on Sunday, if he gets the service, there's no question he's going to make it difficult for our defence, because he is one of them who he likes the ball at his feet. He can get forward. He can, have a go. He's not afraid to test the goalkeeper. Next up, Bernardo Silva. He's got 7 goals for Manchester City this season. Another Portuguese wizard who can make something happen on the day, who's got trickery skill. He can, get past the defence. He can score goals as well. And we'll have to be careful of him on Sunday. Next up, Jesus. He's got 18 goals for Manchester City this season. He's looking lively. He wasn't really used too much against Chelsea on the Thursday, so I'm sure he'll be fresh for the game on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the game, and he's got pace to burn, Jesus, and he likes to peel off the last man, so we've got to be defensively tight. We've got to make sure if he is starting the game, or if he comes on second half, that we'll keep an eye on him, because if we don't, then there's no doubt Jesus will find the back of the net. And last but not least, I have picked out David Silva as well. It's his last season at Manchester City. He's been there for a long time, over a decade now, and he'd want to end his City career with an FA Cup and a Champions League if possible. He's a great player. Unbelievable. I would love to have David Silva, in our side. Just what he brings to the table, the fact he likes to get forward, the fact he's got tricks, under his sleeve. He can make something happen. He can bring players into play, and he's not afraid to find the back of the net either. He's still got those powerful shots for when he was younger, and I expect nothing less from David Silva if he's starting on Sunday evening. So for Manchester City, for them to have made it this far, they have played Port Vale, they beat them, they've beaten Fulham, and they've also beaten Sheffield Wednesday. Now they take on us on Sunday. So Man City have had, I would say, a trickiest run, because Fulham are not an easy team to play up against, and neither are Sheffield Wednesday at the best of times. And I watched their game against Sheffield tonight, and I think Sheffield United Wednesday, I do beg your pardon, actually gave them a good game for large periods of it. So Man City, there will be favourites, there's no question about it, the way they play their football. If they play like they have been playing all season, and the carve teams open and they get that early goal, then they should go on and win it by a clear margin. But if they have their off games that they have been doing this season, then we've got a chance. It's how we start the game. If we start at a good tempo, then we'll give ourselves a chance. If we can get an early goal, then we can really make Man City worry, because if we score that early goal, then Man City will open up and they'll leave gaps at the back as well where we can exploit that. But if we concede the first goal, it could be disaster. It all depends how we start. If we start the game really poorly and we concede, then it's going to be a long night. But if we start the game really well and we concede, as long as it's only 1-0 for so long and Steve Bruce makes the changes in the second half, depends on where the game's at, then we'll give ourselves that chance. But there's no question it's going to be a tough game. They've got quality, and if only we had the quality that they've got. The one player that we really have to make sure he's on his game is St. Maximin, because St. Maximin is our go-to man for quality, getting up the pitch and working the goalkeeper. So it's going to be a difficult night, and it will be a hard watch at times. It's Man City, but I'm keeping the faith, because it's a one-off cup game. It's a quarter-final, which we haven't had in 14 years, and who knows where Man City are going to be at Sunday. Are they going to dwell on Thursday's defeat to Chelsea, or are they going to forget about it and forget about Liverpool winning the title and focus on the FA Cup and think that they're safe in the Premier League? They're going to get Champions League football anyway, there's no question. They're going to finish any lower than second. It's going to be an interesting one, it really is. Score prediction, of course, I'm going to back the TOON. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I really do think we can take advantage of the way they've been going the last game. The fact that they're losing Aguero, they're coming off the back of a defeat. So if we start positive and we get an early goal, who knows where the game could go, but there's no question Man City are going to score. I wouldn't put it past them. So 2-1. Hopefully we're in the semi-finals, but listen, as long as they try and the lads give it their all, that's all we can expect as a football club. And for the squad that we've got, if they walk away from the match and they've given absolutely everything for the shirt, that's it. That's all I expect. So let me know your score predictions down below in the comments. And are you confident or are you not confident? If you're following me on social media, please do. TOON Army TV, Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe and hit the thumbs up. And as I always say, enjoy the game Sunday. Keep it tuned. How are the lads?